3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
Hi, Shandy. Welcome.
Hey, man. Hi.
It's been a minute,
fellas. Yeah, I haven't seen you guys in a while.
Yeah.
It's a good
Jack's
workout.
got long hair.
Yeah. And it's actually, and I've cut it since, like, it's now been, when did I get it cut? April?
Something like
So
that,
it's been about a year and a half.
So
I went a year and
COVID grow out.
I went a year, didn't cut my hair, and then got it cut in April, kept it relatively long comparatively to what it was before.
Yeah.
Right? Like dude hair.
It's funny looking at pictures of you from before you cut your hair. And it's like, you look like such a baby.
Oh yeah.
Right?
The longer hair makes it older.
I don't know. It's not, older. And it's not even older. Like, it's not, I don't know. Also, maybe it makes you look less Navy.
Yeah.
So maybe that's
I think what I like about it is that it is
like you retired from the military.
Yeah, you're
so
definitely not in the military or a firefighter or a cop or right. I don't want to be associated with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Mine grew out amidst COVID, and I like hated it. And so all of a sudden, Katie walks out back one night, and Zayden has the clippers, and he's like, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And then I think she liked my hair a little bit longer, and ever since then, I've kept it insanely short. And she's like, "You could grow it out just a little bit,
just a little bit, man."
I put a hard hat on repeatedly all day. And it's
It's
just so nice not having to worry about it or anything.
I could buy that. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
And also getting ready in the dark before coaching in the morning.
You don't
like just go in and I brush my teeth. Like sometimes my hair will be like a little smashed on one side, and I look at them. Somebody will say something. One of my 5 A.M.ers will say something. I'll be like, "Yeah, I haven't looked in the mirror." I was like, I brush my teeth in the dark.
I don't need to look in the mirror. I know I look good. You need to calm down.
Like, speaking of that, get a little toothpaste right there.
I've always wanted to grow my hair out, and the longest I've let it go is maybe like 6 months, and then I'm like, nah, I gotta cut it. It's getting too long because it's so thick. It starts to get real puffy, and I'm like, I gotta learn how to. Like, it's getting through that awkward.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta
it's
get
not
through the
long,
funky
but
stage.
it's not short phase.
Yeah.
And my brother powered through. He hasn't gotten his hair cut in at least a year and a half. And so it's pretty long now. It's almost like
wow.
it's long.
What's up when we went to the baseball game?
Yeah. His hair's gotten pretty long. And so it looks good. I'm like, we do have nice hair. I feel like if I just powered through, but I don't know if Meg would like it. And if Meg doesn't like it, she's given up on, she likes my clean shaven face as opposed to a beard. I'm like, staying with the beard, babe. I can't shave every day. Dude, you can't shave
Plus,
every day.
Eric without a beard would be
So I'm a baby, like I look like a baby.
Yeah.
I look like Everett.
Well, I remember I seen pictures of you when we first met at Old Bay and stuff. And
when I was at Old Bay was when I think a month before that I first started growing a beard.
Mm-hmm.
And
but
then
you would shave it from time to time.
I would like trim it back, but then it was like, God, what was it? I think I started Old Bay. It was like May or June. And then St. Baldrick's was in March, and I did St. Baldrick's, and that's when I like completely shaved the beard, completely shaved the head. Oh, by the way, I'd also lost like 40 pounds from doing this CrossFit thing. And so like that was when I was like, because now you can see like, wow, like my face is like thinned out too. And that's when Ryan McCamley didn't recognize me one morning. I was in the gym by myself, and he had because I think I started coaching at this point. I was in the gym by myself. And he came walking in and was like just staring at me. I was like, "What's up, Ryan?" He just kind of stared at me and he just goes, "Eric?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "You have no idea. You almost just got your ass kicked so bad. I thought someone broke into the gym."
And that's when Eric shit his pants and started crying.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he even told me I was going to, but I'm not going to now. And I'm still scared.
You still poop
my
I
pants
mean,
a little
I'm
bit.
scared you just telling me that story. Oh, I mean, like, I'm scared when Ryan McCamley looks that way at other people. That makes me scared. So,
I was like, can I outrun him?
No, you can't.
And he was like,
He's like a bear.
Like, you remember where the stereo was at the front of the gym,
Yes.
underneath the whiteboard, and then he had walked in that front door.
Oh.
So there was what do you think that is? Like 40
40
feet, 30,
yeah.
40 feet. I was like, I needed to get to like, I needed to get to a blunt object.
I imagine that like, and you kind of like run in a circle and you're like trying to find the door and you're like look behind you and you turn and boom, you just run into like a GHD and just fall over.
Yeah, he would have ended.
That's a
me.
funny concept though, that you somebody breaking into a gym in order to work out.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you break in here? What set are you on?
Oh, God.
Clean up that chalk when you're done.
Oh man, good old Bay days. Those early days were good days.
They were. Well, it was sort of because I mean it was, I imagine it was kind of like the way we went axe throwing up at the place in, well, no, I always think you're up in Severna Park, but you're not. It's up in Severna Park off of Route 2.
Okay.
Tucked back in one of those strip malls. We did it once before up in Connecticut, and it was pretty good. It was much more posh, kind of a nice place. You could order food, drinks, and stuff. This place, I think you could order food. I don't know, or drink, but it had like a refrigerator and the stalls, and that was it.
Yeah.
Really hot. They have no fans, no AC. It's kind of miserable. Totally like just whatever.
You came here to throw axes.
Yeah, but the boys could do whatever the hell they wanted. And they were throwing ninja stars, they were throwing knives, they were throwing these like metal playing card things. They had taken up like 4 stalls at that point because nobody else was in there anymore. And so that's the way Old Bay felt, was that it was still kind of new, and there wasn't really like, and there weren't really any rules, which is probably what drove someone a little insane.
Yeah.
Is that we had the freedom to kind of figure it out, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the same token, it was really expensive. I bet you emotionally, financially, that's a place that big doesn't have the runway to weather something like that. Like you gotta open and have 100, 150 clients to pay the bills on that place.
Give or take. Yeah, that was quite the hole. The hole to get out of, not Old Bay was a hole. Yeah, it was beautiful. It's like beautiful. I love that floor. I always give it like that speckled floor.
Yeah.
It just tells me how expensive that was. I was like, all right, I'm happy with our horse stall mats.
Yeah. Well, and it's also that thinner floor. I've come to realize like that's why our feet hurt so much. It's because it's only a 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
This is 3/4 inch.
Yeah.
And it's got those little spaces, so it like flexes.
Yeah.
So you actually have more support with a
yeah.
thicker mat. Granted, they spread out and stuff, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'd still go with horse stall mats.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have horse stall mats, but we put wedge anchors, and
At the edges.
at the edges.
Does it hold it in place pretty well?
Yeah, we haven't had a single issue with it moving anymore.
Interesting. All right.
So
We would need to actually probably take it all the way to the wall too,
Yeah.
or figure out.
Well, ours isn't all the way. It's like it goes to the start, like, and then there's just like, it's not all the way to the wall.
Huh.
It opens up. There's just
So
wedge
what does the
anchors,
wedge
just like-
anchor hold it?
It just goes down into the concrete.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So at the edge of it, you put the wedge anchor.
Up for the whole thing. So on both one side of the gym, it's at the end, and one side it's at the end, and nothing ever moves.
Interesting.
So
On all 4 sides, or just the 2 sides?
well, 2 sides are up against the wall,
Got it.
and
So
then 2 sides are open. So,
okay.
but we did it a few years ago, and everything stopped moving because we used to, like, whenever you push sleds,
Yeah.
it was
They're like,
slippery.
that's actually really good. I'm gonna look into that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I don't know
you
what a
need-
wedge anchor is. No.
I actually work for a company that sells them, so if you do
Okay.
want to do that, I can just hook you up with some
Good
wedge
upsell.
anchors.
That was well done.
Wait, I'll just give them to you.
What's the name of the company? We'll sponsor. We'll.
National Pipe Hanger Corporation.
National Pipe Hanger Corporation. I thought that was just like a compliment of, dude, that guy's a pipe hanger.
We're talking about flooring.
Ah,
This is what I call frog radio. This is frog radio because it's riveting.
boom.
It's a ribbit.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Is this my mind?
No, it's
2 straws? I will say my fondest memories were like, I think I got it. Ellen asked me to coach, but it was the hanging out with you after the 5 a.m.s, the nerd sessions that the nerding out and CrossFit sessions, like after class.
Yeah.
It's like we all get up bright and early to go work out as if like, we got stuff to
Stuff to do
do.
today.
I can wait another hour.
3 hours later.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a job?
Yeah, I remember like Drew
Yes.
Chess would be like, I gotta go. And then like 30 minutes later, I was like, didn't you?
That's because he was a company officer
Didn't you?
or something.
Yeah.
Like his job really didn't matter at the academy. Like he thought it, or maybe
He had to
he
show
taught
up,
leadership.
wave,
Yeah, seriously. I
give the
think he
finger
was.
in.
I think he was a company officer. He's out now. They live in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
I talked to him like a year ago, maybe.
Yeah, it's
right at the
been a while
beginning,
since we
right
checked
at the
in.
beginning of COVID.
I think when they had last time I
9
checked in
kids.
with them was when they had their last baby.
Number 7 or something.
Yeah,
Something like
yeah,
that.
Yeah. They have like a football team now.
They're gonna have a full chess board. When it's done. Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah, awesome.
I still remember when I was like, Jack was mentoring me to become a coach, and one day he just didn't show up, so I coached the class.
I
Like,
didn't?
so you were like running way late, so I
Oh.
just started coaching,
Nice.
and then like Ellen, I think, came and was just like, Jack, Jason started coaching, and you're just like, yeah, and he was fine. So
what's the problem?
So there were no
and then
rules.
like the next day, Ellen's like, so you're coaching the 5 a.m. I was like, oh, all right.
Jack's fired.
See, for that to happen, something bad had to have happened.
So I was like, oh, so
The kids were much
internship.
smaller then. I don't know. Maybe it was something like that. Kids were much younger.
Mine,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, I mean that was 2013, I think.
That's
It's
good
possible.
stuff.
It's possible you did a thing like me where I occasionally I would go coach in the morning and I get there and like maybe I was driving the Ford or something, but I grabbed Meg's keys and Meg did not have a gym key on her keys. I just like got all the way to the gym. I was like, and like 4:30 in the morning, I can get from door to door. So up Forest Drive, up Chinkapin, over to West Street, 7 minutes, door to door if I'm really moving. It's like, so it was a quick home, quick back. So a couple times I was like, warm up in the parking lot. I'll be right back.
What you could do is to be like, I want you guys to go out on a mile run, and every 2 minutes I want you to stop
Stop and do
and
burpees.
do 5 push-ups, 10 burpees, and and you guys go. I'm gonna get the gym set up. We'll turn on the lights. I'll brew some coffee. They head out.
And there's your warm up.
And there's your warm up. You can get back in
Perfect.
14
I
minutes.
did that I think I did that like twice. I was like, ugh.
I do that to go pee sometimes.
You would think
I
after
send
the
them
first
on a
time
400
too.
meter run, and I could pee, and then
Oh,
when they
it's
come back, they have no idea. Yeah.
That's why I was like, yeah, by that 5:15 class after coaching the teens, I was like,
Yeah.
I have to pee.
I have to pee so bad.
It's like you're greeting. So the 5 like between the 5 and 5:15, I think
Yeah.
at that time.
There's no
It's like,
time.
no, when everyone's coming in, they're greeting you, you're
Yeah.
catching up, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, 400 meter run.
Dude, my 5
Should've
a.m.
got
crew has
poop.
been like the same forever, and usually I'm there like crazy early, like an hour before class starts. Every once in a while I'm like running. Usually I get there 10 minutes before, but everybody else is there 10 minutes before, so if I'm not there, they're like, oh, he must be running late. So
Yeah.
I'll start getting like phone calls. So I'm like, dude, I'm getting dressed and I'm on my way. But they'll like start warming themselves up out in the parking lot, and they're like, they'll come in, they're like, we're warm. I'm like, what'd you guys do? They're like, we ran a lap. Somebody had us doing lunges. We did some burpees. We did this stuff like that. I was like, all right, so this is what we're doing
Yeah,
today.
It's 4:58.
Jump right in.
Yeah. Or it was like a plan. They're all like, we're gonna all tell Jason that we warmed up because let's be real, we don't really need to warm up.
Well, I showed up and they were all sweating.
Sorry,
And I was
Christine.
like, all right. But it's good when you get that, like over time, that consistent crew,
Yeah.
you know, because I like 12, like it's the same people.
We
but
should
it-
encourage
and
that
it's
consistency.
We should.
you should. You should
write
have it
it
like
down, write it
on
down
the
somewhere.
wall.
It's on the
Maybe put it on a
wall.
t-shirt.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
think so.
Like just,
Or 12.
Somewhere.
but it,
Somewhere.
Oh, there it is.
it's fun though. I mean, it's funny though. If somebody doesn't show up for a few days, they're like,
Where you been?
Have you checked in with so and so? Where are they? Are they on vacation?
Yeah.
And I'm
the
like-
class is wondering where they are.
And it's really funny if it's somebody that I can't get a hold of. I was like, this is so and so's number. All of you contact them. I've had one of the members be like, every girl in class reached out to me. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah.
It was a little creepy, but I liked it.
How's Kent Island? How's life at Kent Island? CrossFit Kent Island.
It's good,
That's
man.
Ryan.
It's good. Yeah, just plugging away. We've been busy.
Yeah.
Like keeps getting kind of busier.
Do you guys still do
But-
linchpin programming?
We do. We
Yeah.
do. We've been following it for
I like him.
a
Yeah.
while now. So
Yeah.
it's
That's Pat Sherwood for anybody who doesn't know.
yeah. So we've been doing that for I think 3 years now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So yeah, we
And he does the same thing, right? It's a whole class plan, warm up,
Yeah.
skill.
like the private
Progression.
track. It's like in like scales and stuff like that.
Nice.
And
Does he still do like one workout a day too? It's not like 6 parts or
It's one workout a day. It's
That's good.
very, very doable
Good.
in a class and stuff like that. Like every once in a while there'll be like a longer one, but he'll be like,
it's
he has a super fitness robot time of X, and he's like, and he was like, for the vast majority, should be around like
here, so
Sunday.
scale
So
it.
he's like,
Yeah.
but scale. He was like, and he would say like for the coaches' notes, like judge by like a warm up round where you think certain people are going to be. It's a scale according. It's great. Like
That's
it's got a
awesome.
great breakdown. It allows like coaches to really work on developing
Coaching.
athletes and skills and stuff like that. Like it's it's great because a lot of my 5-amers, they look at the workouts like kind of in advance because they'll look on Lynchpin's like Instagram and see what the workout's going to be, and they'll come in and be like this, hey, like I want to work on this, like they'll see something, I'm like, yeah, we're going to do that, it's cool. Like they know what's coming. They probably could, if they wanted to try it, do it on their own, but they come in, they're like, hey, I want to.
Is it a day or two behind? Is the gym programming like a day or two behind the Instagram feed or the?
We try to be, just because he has like built-in rest days.
Okay.
So we started, but the private track posts like a month out.
Oh.
Okay.
So we know it's coming for the next month.
Yeah.
So, but we try to, because of the rest days,
I got
to
you.
occasionally like throw something in, like it'll be like fit something into those rest days because people won't rest.
Yeah.
I'll rest when I'm dead.
Well, I mean, we're not open on Sundays, which helps.
Yeah.
So it helps us kind of stay right on the
I feel like
program.
it's one of the best moves we ever made. Just FYI, not being open on Sundays.
Yeah.
Even though I'm already here on Sundays, but like, it's nice to. I think people needed that too. I remember because when we ran at Old Bay, there was 1 or 2 classes on Sundays. It was either mobbed or it was like 2 people.
Yeah, I think there was like 1 class and open gym.
Something like that. Yeah.
And
Well,
it's just like,
Chick-fil-A and our Lord, right?
Yeah.
Take Sunday off.
There you go.
yeah, I mean,
Your Lord, my Lord.
The Lord.
well, it's funny. It's funny. Ryan Wolf said, he was like, for the longest time when he opened the gym, it was just him coaching. And he was like, originally we were closed on Sundays. He was like, just because I needed a day off.
Yeah.
He was like, I just couldn't. He was like coaching 100% of the classes, and then he had like one coach and then another coach and that sort of thing. And he was like, you know what? We're just not going to open on Sundays. It's just going to be.
Well, it gives it time too for other things to like, you can do the weightlifting or other programs if they want to fit it in. And I don't know. I think it does create a sense of like I'm on a kick where I think you should be able to work out 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Right? With the way that we move and the intensity that we should be bringing. And so if that's a good goal, then you need to start being more directive. I think coaches need to start being more directive with athletes of going to failure every single time you're here is a bad choice because you will eventually break yourself.
Yeah.
The folks who have I forget their names now, but they're out of Michigan. They were on Julie Foucher's podcast recently talking about the heart rate training stuff.
Okay.
And so they use those backpackable VO2 max monitors. So when they bring somebody in, they benchmark them and they baseline them and they show where they metabolically switched over from between the 3 pathways. And they show how through, and I mean, that's all VO2 max, not all, but that's what a VO2 max offers is heart rate can be associated with your RAR, can be associated with your VO2 max. That can then be correlated to your wearing heart rate, your monitored heart rate. And so that's where the Orange Theory ideas come from is zone training. Yeah. And this isn't rocket science, it is physiology, but that's where surgery. That's where the zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5 stuff comes from.
Yeah.
That's what this is operating on, and it's useful. That'll do it too, but it is a useful thing of establishing where you end up peaking, not just in monostructural. So something like an Orange Theory is 99% monostructural. Something like running, swimming, triathlon is monostructural. But what happens? Can I do thrusters like I run a medium pace 400? So can you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Could I do 100 thrusters unbroken and feel the same way I would feel running a 1 mile at, a 60-70% effort? Yeah. Then can I do that same thrusters with 65 pounds? And then can I do the same thing with 95 pounds? Then can I do the same thing with 105, 100, blah, 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 blah. And then can I do thrusters and burpees with the same type of fidelity of what that does to my heart rate? And so that's the part of you will never get there if you always do everything at hell in intensity.
100%, yeah.
Right. And so Joe is a perfect athlete where he does not have those gears yet, but we're starting to. Yeah. And so qualitative was one of our guys that he was overtraining. He was here about a year. He was loving it, saw huge gains during COVID. It was absolutely amazing. He's absolutely amazing. but he was starting to plateau and he was starting to like break down and be like, God, I feel like hell. Right. And his knees were never feeling better. Everything was always aching. And I was like, yeah, because you're fucking running hot. Like you're always burning hot.
Yeah.
So let's try a day where you never get so tired that you can't have a conversation with me. And then we were like, okay, let's try that. But I want you to still do burpees too.
Yeah.
And so like we've started to put in his quiver certain movements that do certain things. He can now jump rope without his knees hurting. Like he's finally de-escalated. And you don't need a rest day to do that. Like that's the part.
Just working out at those different levels and stuff like that. And
like
we had all these people do Murph, and I was like looking at times, and some people were like over an hour, and like I wasn't there that day, and I was kind of like, it's not really the point of the workout. Like, so I was like, you're basically going, like,
and that's a hard one. That's a hard one.
Yeah, it's a hard one to skip. But then like, so the following week, I said to like the Saturday class, I was basically, most of you during Murph are going like a level 4, and like pretty much punishing yourself through the workout. And we were doing Omar.
Nice. We actually did Kalsu.
Okay.
The next week or a week later.
And we were doing Omar, and I was like
in the middle of the week,
thrusters and burpees, and I was like, but this should be like a level 8. Like, and then so I was like, you should be able to go hard because it should be a 12-minute workout.
Yeah.
And so let's push the intensity. And so did the intensity. It was kind of funny. This member after class showed me on her she didn't have a Whoop, but like a Fitbit type app. And she said, here's Murph on the left and here's Omar on the right. And like the strain level for what she uses were basically like, it was 89 after Murph and it was 90 after Omar.
And they were half, or Omar was like a third
Omar,
of the time.
Omar was 12 minutes. And she was like, I get what you're going for.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, we got to train like intensity, moderate intensity at times, really press it at times, but also scale accordingly to where you're meeting some days. And like Murph should be about level 6 or 7.
Right.
But
for 40 minutes. 35 to 40 minutes.
But it's like for
not
an hour.
Level 4 for an hour.
Level 3, level 4 for an hour.
That's a really good point.
But it's kind of finding that, but that develops so much over time. Because I mean, I knew for me personally, like I didn't know like come out hot. Like we did Feeks last month. And like last time I did that, I think I got time capped. And this time I finished it. Finished it with the mod. It wasn't using 65-pound dumbbells.
Yeah.
But I knew where that gauge was. Like just to be like, okay, like the shuttle sprints down and back, and like you're doing like shuttle sprints, and like I used to just gun it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like moderate sprint. Like I was just thinking like, if I was running an 8-minute mile, this is where I want to be. 8-minute mile the whole time.
What's happened?
Because the last round is a mile.
What's helped me, that's right. God, that was a good one too. What's helped me too is that the last time you'll ever do Feeks?
I don't think so.
Right?
So why do you have to, I might actually play with it as far as doing, I did it with 50s.
Yeah.
And I would actually play with it with going lighter.
So that's right. Like and you're right. It takes time to learn that or get an appreciation for it. But that's what has de-escalated for me. Like, this is the last time I will ever do Fran, which if somebody were to say that to me, I wouldn't be too upset.
Yeah.
So but it won't be. So play with it this time.
Yeah.
Go and do it PVC jumping pull-ups and see how fast you can actually go. Right. And not feel like, yeah, but what a waste of opportunity. I didn't like low horizon, long trajectory. Because then the other thing too is on the flip side of that, we did some workout and I was like, you will never see this combination in a 12-minute AMRAP again. Realistically, we will never do this workout again. So who gives a shit what your score is?
Yeah.
Like, let's just pick something to practice today and just practice that. I think it was the rowing, the muscle up.
I thought Mondays was awesome because it was a great opportunity either, like depending on where you were, it's kind of like what was it, 12 minutes?
It's 12 minutes.
It's like 12 minutes. I said like, this can be 12 minutes of skill work.
Yeah.
Like if you want
with a little bit of rowing just to get out of breath.
Just get out of breath, get your heart rate up.
And everyone did it. And so what we've tried to do to facilitate that, because Amy made a really good observation. We've been talking about it during our X month. We've been talking about it during the class. We talk about it in the WOD brief. But then somebody goes on to Sugar WOD and looks at it and it's for time or rounds and reps or right. Like, so what we're saying then is completely delegitimized by what they're seeing on the app telling them to track their stuff so that we can observe, measure, and repeat.
No, absolutely.
And it's like this cognitive dissonance around like, well, wait, but you just told me, so we got rid of it. And so now that's just a text. Like it's just, you can put in whatever the hell you want. You can put emojis, you could put the poop sign, you could write your actual time, and Sugar Rod logs it all, and you can look at it later. Like it'll keep a record of it. Benchmarks, we still put weights. If it's a today's deadlift, it'll still
have some observable, measurable, repeatable type thing.
The ones
it
that
populates the
ones that
algorithm.
know you're probably going to see this again. Like weight, like it's good to know your weights. It's good to record your weights. And
but otherwise,
but even on the benchmarks, I mean, like somebody has said one time, once you reach a certain point, I think it was like a question on Doug and Spielers.
Yeah, I was about to say,
once you've done the benchmarks,
they're not useful
enough
tests
time,
for
is it
games
useful?
level athletes.
But then he said, Spielers like, well, if you think like Fran at 95 is hard, it's like do Fran at 75.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's a whole.
But then they
different
did
ballgame.
in these regionals or the semifinals. They've been doing the new girls. Gretel and the other one,
Ingrid
and Gretel. So it was the snatches and burpees and the clean and jerk and burpees, and they were moving fast. But those workouts so that was the conversation with Doug and Chris on Icon was there wasn't that everyone's going to be too close. You're not going to get that fidelity of separation for competition to be able to see and they freaking did. Like between those workouts, you had your kind of like top 3 or 4, then sort of like the 6 or 7 in the middle, and then you're like your bottom 3 or 4. Like it was an exact spread out that's
crazy, even at that level.
But that's a testament to those new workouts that the redesign of sort of Ingrid being close to Isabel, Gretel being close to Grace, just by adding those 3 burpees and splitting out the 30 reps, you didn't have to make it heavier. So that's always our default. That's what I still fall victim to it. Like go heavier to go harder.
Not necessarily.
Go lighter to go harder.
Well, it was funny. I just got it for a month because I just want to see what it's all about, the Mat Fraser programming.
Yeah.
So I got it.
You texted me about it when I made a side comment about it or something.
It was but one of the more interesting thing is all of the Metcons, like every single
That's
one of them,
right. That's what you texted.
There's no place to put your time. It like literally says like there's the Metcon, and below it says how do you feel, and then it says it'll have like a little breakout and say that you should be going at like 70 to 80% of this workout. He was like, you should still be able to hold a conversation.
It's so
you
funny. This is the second time today Mat Fraser has come up, but in a more positive light. So I was a little irritated with him after his time on, right? Because it really matters what I think of, the 5-time game champion one.
He actually texts me all the time. He's like, why doesn't Chuck like me?
Yeah. So, but anyway, when he went on Rogan, I was frustrated that he was talking about something that he doesn't know about because he's never experienced it. And he seems to me as the type of person that is very prescient and deliberate, that he will only comment on things that he experiences and tries. Like that's one of the things I think that makes him so anomalous in his
Are you
success.
speaking about like the certification type concept?
Running a box. He's never owned an affiliate. He's never even really been a part of an affiliate. He worked out at one, but from self-expressed, like self-stated, he is not of the affiliate community. Do you know what I mean? The CrossFit
very true.
And yet he was making comments about it as if he knew
he
had
was
an
like
opinion.
claiming about like garbage affiliates out there and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
And unfortunately,
are you dropping in?
Right. And unfortunately, as to a face of 99% of the population who don't do CrossFit, he is CrossFit. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh no, I get what you're saying.
And so what I heard about 2 or 3 weeks later was a comment by Rosa that de-escalated my frustration, because the guy who is more or less our boss, but not really our boss, you know what I mean? But like the new face of the company said it perfectly. He said, look, Matt is a great guy. Matt is a great ambassador of the sport of CrossFit. Matt is currently working with us to figure out what are his next roles. And I am super excited to work with him in that development of how he can continue to spread the influence of CrossFit around the world. And I was like, holy shit, that's a good businessman. That's somebody who's like, knows what, took the time to talk to this, to to Frazier, probably. I have no idea, right? And I'm now
Yeah,
projecting.
before like
Yeah.
flipping out or something like that. As
And
far
letting
as,
his ego get in the way of like, fuck you. How do you talk about my business when you whatever? Like
Yeah.
Glassman.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he thought, look, this is a 30-year-old kid who just spent the last 10 years of his life dedicating his life to this sport of fitness, which I want to continue to celebrate. I've got a resource here that I could either flush down the toilet or help to continue to cultivate and mentor and develop and win-win for all of us. And I was like, wow, that was impressive.
Yeah.
And now you see he does, this is the thing that was talked about. That was the first, like, and so I was done being angry or done being like, whatever. I was like, no, he's a 30-year-old kid who is figuring this shit out and is apparently a lot better than what I thought, because Luis and I were talking, he was in the booth for the West Coast Classic, I think. And he was making comments that Luis said it was like listening to when Romo started commenting on football.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Was
Romo
amazing.
is good
He knew
because
what
he
was coming
knows what it
before,
is.
yeah.
He's able to give you insight. And he's also a student of the game.
Yeah.
Frazier is wicked smart, knows his shit,
Yeah.
is a student of the game, and is a pretty personable guy. Like he knows his stuff. And Luis was like, he was amazing as a commentator. So the fact that you're telling me the programming, he is a artist of this thing called CrossFit.
it was fun. I mean, it was what was it? One of them was like a 3 rounds, 1,000-meter row, 30 wall balls, something else. But in any case, might have been burpees, I think. But he was like, your 1,000-meter row should be at a 5,000-meter pace. And he said, and talked about where to put the tamper and stuff like that. But he was like, you're gonna get off, and on those wall balls, the wall ball should be unbroken at about 17 to 20. You're going to want to stop.
Yeah.
And sure enough, every single round
It
at
was
like
right
17
where
or
you
20,
were.
I was like, no. And then once
How
I got
does he
into the
know?
into those
Because
20s,
he's
I was
probably done
Yeah.
1,000,000 meters and 1,000,000 wall balls to be able to know that, because he's talking about the rope climb as he's watching these athletes do. He goes, well, if you see where so-and-so puts his feet, what's going to happen here on his third pull, he's going to miss the top of the rig by about 6 inches. What he needs to do is save himself about a second by giving that extra jump. And instead of leaving his hands, and Luis says, and I'm watching it, and it was like, how the hell did he know? Because Frazier probably spent 4 weeks. All he did was climb a rope.
Mhm.
When he couldn't flip that pig that one year at the games, he got a pig and he flipped the pig every day for an hour for a month.
Yeah.
Like, who has the patience to do that? The guy who was a 5 times games champion. Because that's what I mean is when I heard him on Rogan talking about Coke and whatever, Coca-Cola and whatever as his recovery. Yeah. I was like, dude, that is not helpful. Yeah. Like nobody who comes to our affiliate needs that.
Yeah.
And I would say most of the athletes who are competing don't need that. That worked for you.
Yeah. A quick
Snickers
aside
and
on that.
Coca-Cola.
Did you see Cristiano Ronaldo?
No.
Oh, that was great.
So I'm sorry to take complete aside.
No, that's
the same thing.
He literally he goes to sit down for his press conference just at the Euro Cup like now.
Yeah.
And he goes to sit down, and Coca-Cola is one of the main sponsors. And so he sits down at the microphone, and there's 2 Coca-Colas sitting there.
Yeah.
And he looks, and he's just like, he's sitting there waiting for them to question. He's like, you could tell he's annoyed. And he takes the Cokes and he comes over here and puts them out of the view of the camera.
Yeah.
And he picks up a water bottle and he goes, drink water, not Coke.
Nice.
And sets it down in front of him. They said something like Coke stock went down like 5% or something like that.
That dude has like, he has marketing power outside of the US that we don't even know. And he's got some in here too.
And he basically
good.
And they asked him about it and stuff like that. And I think he got something said to him. He was like, I'm not promoting. He was like, there's a lot of kids watching and I'm not promoting them
to
drink.
He said, he goes,
soda.
I don't drink Coke.
Yeah.
He said like he's on a very strict like diet regimen. He goes, he was like, I don't drink Coke, so I'm not going to promote this thing.
I might ask you about that. Was just like, I'm not the biggest Ronaldo fan.
Yeah.
Just he's kind of too pretty for me to look at. It's so pretty.
But makes me feel bad about myself.
Yeah, I just don't like looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
But
that's why I can't.
But I saw it and I was like, this is a guy that kids around the world look up to.
Yeah.
And I was like, for the fact that he was like, no. I was just like, dude,
Right. It's so
like
true.
it was just so awesome to see.
It is,
That's
and that's sort of what I think a lot of us expected from Fraser on
that's the
Rogan.
reason I.
Yeah.
But what I would say is he did do that, right? He
Yeah.
showed a side of humanism and intimacy to a training level that previous CrossFit athletes wouldn't. And so in a sense, we got exactly what we wanted. We wanted honesty. We wanted transparency. We wanted authenticity. That was Mat Fraser.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's not corporate, right? He's not an employee. He doesn't owe the affiliate Inc. side of it anything. And so that's you don't get authenticity, transparency, and that intimacy without also having to take like, okay, well, he didn't say everything you wanted him to say, but you also didn't coach him and you're not paying him, and the guy's not gonna pull. He's candid. And so punches, exactly. And so I got over myself and I was like, you know what? I really still like him. I think he is awesome.
Yeah, and the one thing you said about, affiliates. I've dropped into places all over the country.
That's the thing.
And
he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
It's like but it's like, yeah, but you could have been a little bit more, but that's it. Like, no, that's not him.
It's one of those things like to say, like, because I can say that, I don't know, he's probably like dropped into like maybe 30 gyms, something like that, maybe 40, like in just places of traveling and stuff like that. Because I usually, whenever we go on vacation, drop in. I have had some of the best, like, whereas I'm like taking the class and I'm like, oh, I'm stealing that, and that sort of stuff. And then I've had some where I've literally walked up to the coach in the class and be like, I don't know how the way you're structuring your class is kind of unsafe.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel awkward saying something, but something has to be said. Like I dropped into a place in Florida where the coach had their kid who had just learned to walk, like walking around.
When people are like moving barbells and people
moving barbells. I was doing muscle on the rig, and the kid walked beneath me. So I held up, and I'm like, dude, you feel awkward because I'm dropping in, but I was like, can somebody get the baby?
Look at the baby, get the baby, somebody get the baby.
Yeah, and it was like, I looked online afterwards and saw that the person coaching wasn't the owner. So I just messaged the owner. I was like, hey, just want to let you know this happened.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'd feel like everybody in there was.
I think the other thing too,
somebody watch the baby.
That we have we have the liberty of anonymity. Do you know what I mean? Like we drop into the box, nobody knows us. They don't know you. They don't know me. Like we're not anybody. We're in a community that is in itself itty bitty.
Mm-hmm.
He can't go anywhere at this point without somebody probably knowing him. Like even Rich Froning for a long time probably could go through most airports and nobody knows.
Outside the CrossFit bubble.
But I mean, Fraser has sort of transcended it a little bit, but the bubble's a lot bigger too, relatively. It's still pretty small comparatively. Like he's not Tom Brady, he's not Ronaldo. Like he's still on the grand scheme of like celebrity. Yeah. But he still doesn't have the liberty of anonymity. Yeah. So whatever he did, even if he dropped into the box, even if he did participate in a community or in some sort of affiliate, he doesn't get to experience that like the rest of us kind of do and get sort of the ability to just go to a class. Like he'd have to really establish himself somewhere and then get comfortable with him before he gets to have that experience again. Yeah. So I had to remind myself a little bit of that too. Like, the dude's protected because he has to be protected. He has to be shielded so he can live his fucking life. Because otherwise he's spending more time dealing with being around people than training or whatever it is he's working on. Anyway. Making coffee. Yeah, now he's But right, like that's the thing. Like he can't even go to a coffee shop probably and just get a good cup of coffee or enjoy being unknown in a coffee shop without somebody saying like, "Are you Mat Fraser? Can I get you?" You're right. Like, and I know I'm speaking this is the burden of fame that people talk about. I just actually watched the Tiger Woods documentary on HBO Max. That's good. Phenomenal. Have you seen it? He's he was messed up, and I
Right,
don't
Tiger.
I don't absolve him of responsibility for the choices and actions that he had
Right.
made, but you kind of get like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, that probably is exactly the way most of us would have, our trajectories would have been
Right.
too.
There's so many like,
Yeah, like
when
it's,
celebrities aren't role models, people are like, I was like,
but like I mean,
Again, I'm not
from the
absolving
time
anyone
he
for
was 4 months old, he was put on that path
Yep.
by his father to land exactly where he landed.
yeah,
It was funny when his
Granted, they made the documentary, so I believe that too.
Yeah.
I'm
when
completely
he had like
susceptible
his squeaky
to the
clean-
narrative.
like
Sorry.
squeaky clean image back in like the early 2000s, stuff like that. I was started dating this girl, and I went to her house, and all of a sudden there's like a picture of like girls like scantily clad at a party, like she's one of them, and all of a sudden I'm looking at it, I was like, is that Tiger Woods? And she was like, yeah. She was like, he used to party with us sometimes when they came through for the Buick Open and Grand Rapids, and I was like, huh. And I was like, really? And she was like, he's wild.
Yeah.
And I was like, Tiger Woods? And she was like, yeah. It's like,
That, and
I was like, okay.
they start to talk about, there's a scene that they do in the show. He is on Conan, and I think it's right when one of his games came out, one of his EA Sports games came out, and Conan's like, you've got to have like a you're like Batman, you got to have like a bat cave, or like
Right.
a whole nother side or life to you. I mean, there's no way. And his whole Woods' face is just this.
Who told you?
Like, you see him like
Yeah.
processing, do I come clean?
Or
Like,
is he
do I-
going somewhere with
Yeah,
this?
do I
or-
offload this? Is this my chance to actually reveal? And then like, no, you are $100 million brand. You have responsibilities. You must maintain and he's just like paralyzed. Again,
Which is
maybe
like-
it's editing, maybe it's a documentary, but you're like, the torturedness of him, that
Which right,
Go
like,
ahead.
and to give him that too, like, again, not absolving actions, but I mean, he did what he did, whatever. But like, the pressure of having to be this perfect role model,
yeah.
like it freaking weighs on you. And so it's one of those like, I deserve to be able to let loose, and then what
Yeah.
happens is like you kind of lose that, like,
I deserve to be
you
an
kind of
asshole,
lose
right?
the
Like,
filter, right?
I
Like,
deserve to be an
this.
asshole.
Yeah.
What? I deserve to be a version of myself that I also don't like.
Well, it's
What?
funny, like it's
I'm
definitely not putting
a
my-
tortured state.
I'm definitely not putting myself on like the pedestal of Tiger Woods, but like I was reading a lot of stuff.
I like where this is
there's a
going.
lot of,
I like good start to any
so
conversation.
it's like, look, let's be real. Like we've
You
all
just threw him a
not
shot.
Tiger
We've all-
Woods, but
But
we've all made like questionable decisions in our lives. And one time I was reading this. It was either an article or I'd say a book. I didn't finish it though. But it was like having a sibling, especially having a sibling that's special needs. And it was like like Michael's special needs, and then I'm second in line, right? And so even though he's the older brother, I have the pressure of being the older sibling, right? And then it's and so there's all this like
Steven just gets to skirt that.
We've talked about this. We've talked about this. I don't even get me started on my sister, but there is this like you are meant to be the one up here. You're supposed to be the one up here. It's like, well, I'm not supposed to be the one up here. He's supposed to be the one up here. And so like there's all this pressure on you to be like, you're supposed to be like the one leading the show. You're supposed to be one setting an example. You're supposed to be the one that's supposed to be like perfect and flawless. And then it's like, and then sometimes it's just like it gets overwhelming. And so like I think Tiger Woods was this perfect picture of like he's handsome and well dressed and a good golfer and a good role model, and he's obviously takes care of himself and he's polite and he's blah 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 blah.
So
He's probably like, I'm gonna get hammered, take my shirt off, and
in the
hello ladies.
in the
plural.
documentary, it was the Masters. I think when either his father, it's his father hadn't passed away yet, but he was repeating to win the Masters to like close out, I think, the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
And he was paired with Phil Mickelson at the end, and he had like drama around Phil Mickelson because he was like 6 to 8 years younger than him.
68 years ago.
Yeah. And Phil had come through the same California,
Yeah.
junior program, so he had all the records, and Tiger was always being compared to him. And Mickelson is I still think arguably the most, and the documentary talks about naturally gifted golfers ever to have played the game. I mean, the dude has no business being as good as he is, but
For so long.
he's
too,
just
right?
such a pretty golfer. Like
Yeah.
he just moves perfectly.
Yeah.
And Tiger moves well, but he has had
Yeah, I mean,
to.
if you look at the history of when Phil's lost tournaments, he has like so many second place finishes. It has nothing to do with his actual golf talent. It's actually he'll try to go for something he shouldn't go for.
Right. So
Like,
he's
like,
doing.
I think I could squeeze it between those two trees that are
Right.
8 inches apart. And he's
Right.
like,
And
you know,
nobody
like-
else should, and
Yeah.
he shouldn't even be able to.
Yeah.
But sometimes he still
Sometimes
does.
he does. Yeah,
Like
exactly.
he is.
Like, he probably could have won even more. He just
Right. If he's just, but Tiger is a mechanic,
Yeah.
and he's ridiculously talented. I mean, clearly, he was swimming,
Powerful.
but he has to work, and so that is like that's the old hard work will always beat whatever.
Hard
if
work trumps talent.
talent and talent doesn't work
Talent
hard.
doesn't work hard.
You could argue Mickelson doesn't work as hard as Tiger, and it makes Tiger mad. Blah blah blah. So there's all kind of the documentary
Sure.
talks about this. So they're playing. So I think it's like the 10th or 11th tee. They're neck and neck, and Mickelson drives this just monster down the fairway. So Tiger pulls out his 3-wood and just whoosh, outdrives him by like 30 or 40 yards. And Mickelson goes, "Man, do you always hit your 3-wood that far?" And Tiger turns to him and he said, "Usually about 20 yards further." And just turns and walks, and you just watch Mickelson just deflate,
Yeah.
and he falls apart the rest of the round, and Tiger crushes him and gets the jacket. And so the point of the documentary being, we always think Tiger's this clean cut,
Yeah.
but the thing is, to be at that level, he was also an asshole on the
Yeah,
course.
he-
Like he was cutthroat.
Oh.
Well, it's like
MJ.
it's Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I think of Frazier, like there's comments of him that a lot of behind the scenes initially, you didn't really hear a whole lot about him. And you think of, and Josh Bridges made a comment one time of like, "Oh God, no, Matt's the worst trash talker.
Yeah.
Like he will get in your head in the middle of a fucking workout
Yeah.
on the floor. He will purposely slow down to let you catch up just to go faster and pass you.
It's such a deflating.
And you watch him do it to Medeiros on the run. You watch him let Medeiros catch up, and he asks Medeiros a question, and then Medeiros is just chat.
Yeah.
And then Frazier will ask him another question, and Medeiros is just chat. And he goes, "Yeah, I kept asking him questions so that when we were going up the hills, he'd blow out his lungs." And then he asked me, like, "When do you think we should pick it up?" And Frazier said, I think around that telephone pole, I'm going to pick it up. And he said, so about 50 yards out, I started sprinting, and he had no gas left to keep up. And he's just like, oh my God, the kid, like you just basically kicked a kid down and like threw dirt on him. And if I'm
Rookies gotta
Frazier,
learn.
right? If I'm Frazier, my answer is, hey, it's the fucking big leagues, man.
So true.
We ain't playing for second place. We're playing for $500,000.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm here to get paid. And
Yeah.
so I was like those are the types of things to bring it back to CrossFit and bring it
Yeah.
back to Frazier. Like, I love that. I love that about him, and the unapologetic, like, no, I did this to get paid. I was a
Yeah.
professional athlete.
Yeah.
I wasn't dishonest. I didn't cheat. I did everything that was within the bounds of what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that's what it was supposed to be. The conversation was, I think, went too far with Rogan when he was seen as an expert on things that he didn't have a place to talk about.
One that's coming on the Phil Mickelson thing.
Yeah,
One thing I found
Coming back to golf.
finally interesting. No, it's the so apparently like a year ago he had a tournament where he finished like middle of the pack, and he talked to Nick Faldo, former like major winner in golf, and he said and he basically said to him, he was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get back on competing with these young bucks, because they're driving the ball so far and blah blah blah. And Nick Faldo said to him, he was like, you have to add 30 to 40 yards to your drive again. He was like, otherwise there's no point in trying. And so they had a talk, and he's like, well, how do I need to do that? And he was like, you have to increase your swing speed at least 6 miles per hour. And he was like, that'll give you the distance you need. So basically he tore everything down to just working on increasing the speed.
I thought you were going to
of
say
his swing. And he dropped some weight. Like he started muscle training a little bit, and then just started working on speed, and then building back up. So he had some tournaments where he's like missing cuts and stuff like that. But they said he was hitting the ball harder, hitting the ball farther, and stuff like that. And then when he just won,
just recently, right?
PGA, he won a major.
Yeah.
And when he won it, they were like, on one of the drives, he was like 368 yards off the tee. And they're like, he hadn't hit the ball that hard in like 2 years. But it's kind of funny because relating it back to CrossFit is like, You're talking
You
about
gotta
Joe,
break- yeah.
the guy you're
Yeah.
talking about, like tearing everything back down, and then all of a sudden, like everything
Yeah.
gets easier. Like
Roger's been recently doing that,
Yeah.
and he's a totally different athlete in
Yeah.
6 months. He's a different, like just his facial expression, the way he's moving, he's happy a little bit again.
Yeah.
Like, and so this is where Glassman you got to go back to the beginning and the basics, and you think you know how to air squat? You sure? Like, are you really keeping tension where you're supposed to keep tension?
Yeah.
Are you really getting depth?
well, just in this past year, like my knee issue, had surgery and all that stuff like that, and then I was building myself back up, and it was like, okay, like I want to like get into a workout, and like I do like a push press. My knee would start to bother me a little bit, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna strict press. And then I just started getting in the gym and doing anytime there was something dynamic, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do strict. Gonna do strict, like tear it all the way back down, and then started getting really heavy in my strict press. And I just decided till my knee didn't bother me at all, everything was going to be like really
Strict
strict
movement.
and doing like bands and doing like air squats. I was really bringing it back down to the basics.
Yeah.
And then we did like DT. I was like, I was like, I can't strict press 155 for reps. So I was like, oh, I'll just try it.
Yeah.
And it's my best DT time ever.
Yeah.
And I hadn't push pressed in forever, but I had just been focusing on like really like
Locking that in.
really
One of the
strict
best
movements.
opens I've ever felt was when we were following .com for the year. And the last 3 months before the open, Glassman took over the 19. He took over the website, crushed it, revamped it, took over programming. Slips were in there every day. We did Strict Cindy or some version of Strict Cindy like for 4 weeks straight.
Oh, it was something ridiculous.
People, I mean, seriously, I thought people were going to
quit the
like,
gym.
yeah, like I thought that was it. Like not just quit the gym, but like start egging our cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was so boring. That was one of the best opens we've ever had.
Yeah.
Is that people all of a sudden got their first pull-ups or were like because of the amount of strict work. And so I still believe Glassman is the best programmer. It's just define what is effective programming. In his mind, increased fitness. That's it. Increased work capacity across broad time and modal domain. It does not matter. Nothing else matters. I would argue that there is room for programming that is also fun.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, his programming is so fucking boring, but it is so effective.
I mean, I look at main site like every day. I don't know who since Rosa took over, who's been taking over the program.
Probably Nicole.
It's gotten a lot more
Probably Bosman.
fun.
Yeah,
and fun.
I would say
interesting
Nicole,
and stuff like
Bosman,
that.
maybe Bosman a little bit.
Dude, I did that 30-20-10 GHD toast bar wall balls.
That was
Ooh.
that's
It
a
gets-
well-programmed
It gets
one.
saucy just because
I
the
bet you
GHDs
Dave-
just wreck your midline from the start, and then you're like,
I bet you
Oh,
Dave
yeah.
Pepper's in there too.
I think he does,
because he probably gives them insight onto what's coming for some of the open or some of the AQ, the age group online qualifier and stuff. So they tease it out too in the community, in the general community. That's when, and it ebbs and flows when whoever was programming was a part of the other aspects of the community, you could see things show up like, well, shit. I mean, Dave used in 2019 games, the first cut had been the .com workout that day.
Yeah.
And so that was on purpose too. The rope climb, snatch, run one.
Yeah.
I think that's the part of either he was in an interview, Dave was in an interview, or it was in his book about how, I think it was in an interview recently. He said Glassman never thought programming was worth worrying about because to him, it was just, it was intuitive.
Yeah.
Right. Like he knew because he was so, he created the thing.
Yeah.
Like it's his brainchild. Lauren helped kind of develop it into what became CrossFit.com, but it was always Glassman's idea. And so to him, all this worry about programming and the what and the how is a waste of time because it's so damn simple. The difference that Castro sees is he has taken what Glassman had created and he's turned it into entertainment.
Yeah.
And so he is actually done this
Sports
thing.
entertainment.
Yeah, this thing that is absolutely phenomenal. We talked about that.
Yeah.
That he sees a pattern available to tweak, that if he were to just change a rep scheme or one element of a layout, or to make it a med ball instead of a dumbbell.
Mhm.
Now all of a sudden, it's that finish of the lunge where Emma, what's her face, and the two teenage phenoms are battling it out in that overhead lunge thing, which that's not his to program, but that was the Tia, and the Kara Saunders finale, right? Like he's figured out that yes, programming is pretty simple and yeah, we can do it, but there's got to be this entertainment element to it. That's what keeps people coming back for more when motivation and the other stuff gets too boring. And you can only be efficacious for so long before somebody's like, oh, but I'm bored out of my mind. Like, I get it, slips help. And they eventually, but like, can't we do something fun too? Like, isn't there? And so that's, I am so often impressed by Castro's ability to take something like, why didn't we think about adding that extra 1 minute of rest? That was miserable and so amazing. Genius. Oh, the decreasing, rest, or whatever, like the things he comes up with at the Open, you're like, yeah, that totally makes sense. God,
what was funny, this year's Open was one of the first Open, I think it was the first Open that I didn't sign up for. Just because I was still in physical therapy for my knee and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, and it had been forever, but I was like I was starting to feel like I was rounding the corner, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sign up, because if I sign up, then I'm gonna be
do something
super competitive, and stuff like that. I ended up still doing all the workouts just because I looked at the Open workouts and I was like, that looks good.
I was super impressed because I tested, would do it RX, then would do it scaled, and then would do it as one of the adaptive to see if the stimulus, that to me was quite possibly the most amazingly programmed 3-week event, 3-week 4-event thing, that it didn't matter what version you did. They all felt about the same. If you tried to get, like if I tried to get on the scaled and the adapted what the top times were, it hurt more than when I did it RX and got a respectable time for me, like what I would want out of it. And then the age group online qualifier was the same way.
What was funny, I had remember with the double under wall walks. And it's like, didn't do great on the double under wall walks. And he was like, I think I'm gonna do the scaled version. I was like, just so you know, that's still not going to be fun. It's going to be harder. It's going to be very, very close to the exact same way you're feeling.
Because the wall walks.
He's like, really? And I was like, yeah.
You're not going to rest.
Because the single under stop, they're not resting.
And you came back across that line.
And you still got to do the hardest part of the damn wall walk. Still.
Get up and go.
And he was.
And then the freaking it was bear crawls and line hops, right?
For
the adaptive version, or the one that we
foundations.
Or no. It was the freaking Russian twists. Oh my God, Sam and I did that one because he was injured, like his shoulder was hurt.
You did that one too.
We both almost threw up. Like that was so freaking hard, and I was like, "This is genius!" Like to be able to modify something, not just scale it, but modify it in a way that still yielded an equal and analogous stimulus. I don't think people realize how freaking hard that is, and you're doing it for almost 500,000 people. So, right, like I can do it in here for 2 or 3 in a class, and it's still really hard, but I think we do a pretty good job, like on the spot for that individual. They did it for people they don't know. So they had to take something that is felt so individualized, but make it universally applicable to 500,000 people. I don't know of anything else I've ever experienced other than maybe medicine that is as effective in doing that. Do you know what I mean? Like Tylenol does that. That took a really long time to create, I think.
What was funny with the dumbbell snatches and the burpee box jump overs.
Well, that was just silly. That's still just the silliest, hardest, most disgusting.
It was funny the first time I did it. I got time capped. And I could remember.
You talking in 17?
Yeah.
17,
and so I remember clocking, just like basically blowing myself up is what I did. And I was like, this time I just started doing it and was like, okay, I need this done by this time. And I started to come out fast, and I was like, slow down. Go, you need this done by this time, and just like approached it that way. And all of a sudden it was funny. I got like the round of 20 and I think it was like 15 minutes on the clock. And I was like, I can finish this.
Yeah.
And then I like started to
Round of 20 is
I
like time
press
to
it a
go.
little bit. And then I like was like, okay, go. And then I got done with the dumbbell snatches and I got to like the box jumper. And I was like, look at the clock. I was like, I can really finish this.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I ended up finishing, I was like 18,
Nice.
16 or something like that. But
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, I'm probably going to time cap because I was just finishing under 20 minutes. But I like did it mathematically and I was like, man,
Yeah.
I should approach these things like this more.
I should be injured more often.
But it's funny, the nature, I mean, I guess not I think for a lot of people, like that wrenching up of competition.
Yeah.
Like for me,
Well, that was
causes me to go to a different place mentally. And so this year, not signing up for the Open
helps.
it helped
out of
me
it.
dial that back.
That's a good point.
At the same time, it's like I know that I was conservative in some of the movements, like the complex with the hangs, the clean, and then the hang clean.
It was a clean, hang clean. No, deadlift.
Yeah, deadlift,
Deadlift,
hang clean.
Hang clean.
Front squat.
Yes.
Jerk.
Jerk. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
If it was heavy 1 rep max thruster, he would have signed up though.
Well, Frazier in the booth also says how they ask him like, these semifinals, you guys, you remember your regional sectionals, like, was it hard? Was it, volume hard? It beat up your body? And he said, actually, this is about half, maybe, 2/3 of a normal training day.
I think
so he said
Bergeron
the volume isn't the problem. It's the intensity of it.
Yeah.
That is so damaging to the body. And it started with the ruck run.
The
They
stress,
asked him
the
like,
cortisol levels.
how do you think they're feeling after the ruck run? He's like, the ruck run's nothing. Like they're fine because you can only go so fast. You're limited by what you can and can't do. It is what it is. He said,
Especially if you run with less weight in your bag.
cheater. But it's the other ones, the ones where you're in the field or on the field with somebody and you're like neck and neck. And so
that's what I always admired about Froning was that he could be in those workouts and like literally the workout starts off and he's in last.
Yeah.
And his
have
pace,
patience to just settle.
That's such a hard,
it's
hard skill. Like everybody's like walking away and like especially the way they set it up, like in the old Staples Center or StubHub Center, and it was the huge floor, and you would see like barbells moving up, and he'd be back, and then you just see him catch.
Makes you wonder, right? Like
and then walk whoever it was down.
Yeah.
But literally, you never really saw him that much of a.
No,
that just was like, okay, I should finish this in this amount of time.
I'm always curious of him, like, and he clearly just loves the process.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I wonder if Frazier was more of he really just likes to win.
He needs to win.
And it's sort of that burns hot. And he kind of also is very self-aware that he was like, you know what? I'm done burning hot. I don't really want to. And I don't really like the process that much. I want to do something else.
Yeah.
Well, Bergeron on this week's podcast for Chasing Excellence says something about Matt. He was talked about different types of athletes and stuff like that. And the guy asked, somebody was kind of interviewing him that they replayed on his, and the guy asked him about Fraser, and Fraser he's obsessed, like insanely obsessed about everything. And he was like, it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
He was like, there's no aspect of it that was fun for Matt.
A job for him.
But he was like, he would leave no stone unturned.
Yeah. And so
and
that's
like, but Froning, like, I mean, he like did the Open, like, he did the quarterfinals workouts.
I think
just
he likes
fun.
the
like,
process of training.
Yeah.
And and yet he is so innately skilled and naturally gifted as an athlete that he is able to continue to sustain at a level that is beyond what most can by just staying the process.
The Whoop did some like a partner thing with him for the quarterfinal workouts, and they post them online. Then it showed like his Whoop, like basically screen next to him, and then him doing the workout. And he did that the wall ball rowing one or whatever. Yeah. And they show his Whoop next to it, and his like heart rate goes up to 159, and it literally for the duration of the workout
stays at 159.
And I was like,
how is that humanly possible?
How is he doing it? It like goes like 160, 158, 159. Like the whole entire time. Yeah. And at the end of it, they put it, if Rich Froning was doing this workout competitively, he would have finished like, I don't remember, it was like some third or seventh.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they showed for different ones, but it was
Yeah.
like third or seventh in the world.
And he's just doing it for funsies.
Yeah. Just doing it for fun and maintaining that line. I was
Yeah.
like, how?
I walk up the stairs to go to the bathroom and I hit 162.
Thinking about 159 puts me at 160.
I did one of Fraser's like 40-minute emails.
That needs to be on a t-shirt. Thinking about my heart rate being at 150 puts me at 165.
I did one of the Fraser imams, and it was a 40-minute imam. And
Ah,
I just felt like I was
no.
feeling so wrecked like midway through, and I was like, okay, just press it. Because the thing about it is like being an imam and being that long, if you ever slow down a little bit, it
You're
makes it
screwed.
immensely worse. And then if you go a little bit too fast,
Yeah.
you're huffing and puffing and trying to.
FYI, folks, you're lucky. You're welcome that we've never programmed a 40-minute imam of anything.
But it was funny. The only reason I bring that up is I looked at my Whoop afterwards,
Yeah.
and it was my spiked out at 205.
Oh,
my gosh.
you're lucky you're
At
alive.
the 36th minute
Isn't
or
it
something like that.
Isn't it 220 minus your age?
I
It's supposed to be
yeah.
your max heart rate.
I was like, I looked at the app and I was like, oh, whoops. But yeah.
Good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff, fellas. This is a fun. I was trying to figure out what should we title this one. I'm just thinking it's
5 a.m. at Old Bay.
summer days. Summer days.
Yeah.
Random drop in.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one too. I like that. I do actually like that better.
Yeah.
Random drop in.
I was
Random
so
summer
when he
drop-in.
texts like dropping the 9:30. He's like, oh, Shady's gonna be there. Then Meg said she's gonna take Fee to her nature group across the bridge. I was like, I think I'm gonna try and hit the 9:30. It's like Shady's there, but then it was like trying to get them out the door at 9:30, and so I'm trying to brush Fee's teeth, and she's like, what was she asking me about? I don't remember. When Fee knows it's time to go, she wants to do everything else,
Stalls
right?
and
Like she just
stalls.
stalls
Yeah,
and stalls
yeah,
and
yeah.
stalls. Because that's bad too. If you keep like reminding them, like, hey, come on, Fee, we gotta go. Come on, Fee, we gotta go. Come on,
Just
Fee, you gotta
gets
brush your
worse.
teeth. It
Yeah.
just makes it worse. And so like I'm walking out the door at like 9:35. And it's like, it's like I hate being late to class, especially in my own gym. Hate being late to class.
Yeah, but of classes you're going to be late to, it
Yeah.
should be the
it's
9:30.
gonna be 9:30.
As like 3 of them are rolling in at 9:42.
Right.
Yeah. It's great. I
So
love
I
it.
just like walked in. I was like,
That's absolutely.
I was like,
It
Sean,
started
can I
and there
work
was
out
like
with
4
you?
of us, and then
Yeah.
like one person walked in.
Yeah.
And another person
It's all
walked in.
right.
I was
And
like, where are
Shell-
these people? Come
I'm
on.
not
Yeah.
sure there's anybody else other than maybe you. Shelly and Amy can just roll with that. They
Oh, yeah.
have like the ability without it actually starting late or
Yeah.
like ever minimizing any of them who come in late. I'm the worst because you come in late. I can't help myself. The face is,
Yeah.
hi, good to see you.
Yeah.
I love when you guys show up. Always show up. Always default to showing up. Show up whether you're late or not. Show up.
Show
It's
up.
okay. It's me, not you. We'll get over it.
We'll move on. We'll get fit. We'll have a good time.
So yeah, gratitude, man. What's your gratitude?
On the spot.
I'd see the random drop in as an app title because I didn't give any thought to anything.
Not
That's
supposed to.
gratitude. I came up with a good title. Thank you for my brain.
God,
You can
Man.
pass.
You want to?
to?
I'll go. You want me to go first?
Go
I'll go
first. I gotta give it.
So
some
mine
thought.
are two new members, Summer and Jay, and the reason being, both of them, I think, are the first two in at least maybe Chad Haynes was one of the only ones who has ever actually read their membership contracts because they both asked me questions. Summer sent me like an email with a handful of questions on it, which were legit questions
Yeah.
of like, hey, I read this contract and hey, I pulled up my Zen thing and I've taken some screenshots of it. And I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
but it gave like, I emailed her back and we answered all the questions and we worked through it and stuff. But it was, I don't usually get to see the customer's experience side
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
I was able to really see like, oh, okay, there are some things I have to fix, but on the whole, I was like, oh no, yeah, that's exactly what the contract should read. No, that's exactly what it should look like. Great questions. And I was able to answer them and stuff. And so at the end I was like, and thanks for like
Yeah.
the follow through. She's an engineer. This other Jay is a lawyer.
Yeah.
Jay's was, yeah, well, I saw in there and then it was things about like boat storage and pier access. And I was like, I don't think this is the right contract. And I was like, no, it is.
It just,
And let me explain
That's
why.
awesome.
Like,
Yep, you're good.
so thank you to them. And you know, maybe public service announcement, like, hey folks, don't trust us. read the stuff you're signing. Like, you never know what we're actually going to get from you. I mean, we make you do burpees, for God's sakes.
I know it's weird, it's confusing. Yes, we are a boat storage facility that does offer training.
We offer
We do the occasional fitness
we
classes.
offer on land dry. We offer dry land training,
Yeah.
but we are a maritime warehouse storage facility
Yeah.
that facilitates boat storage and water access in
Yeah.
the Annapolis area. That is our
Yes.
thing. We are the only CrossFit gym in the area that has free and not even public, but
Yeah.
free access to water with our membership
Yeah.
that comes to CrossFit, Fairwinds CrossFit.
We have a beach like
I know you
Yeah.
do.
Like
I'm so
400
jealous
meters
of it.
away.
It's so
Yeah.
awesome. I've seen the morning photos of them doing
That's
in
so
the rain
nice.
beach wads.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is aw- is that
I'll have a-
shan-
I've
is
had a-
that Shandy pouring sand on them?
we haven't done it in a little while, man. Dude,
It was a
goes
while. It was
going
like
again.
2 years ago.
We
but-
still said, well, the Mattapique Beach used to not be that busy, and now it's
bumping.
it's like bumping every Saturday.
Yeah.
They actually have like security that
Huh.
keeps the amount of people that go down there, like because it used to be just a free for all, and like
Yeah.
I come in on a Monday morning and there's just like the whole back of the gym.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
Shady's
open
going to
people.
have doing like SEAL training one day where they're like sitting in the waves, spraying with a fire hose.
We do hydro burpees.
Yes.
So that's
to the
it's a good time. I guess my gratitude would be so debating on this. I was tempted to say my in-laws because they just took the kids for 10 days. We just got them back on Saturday, which I think it was they loved it. They loved it. It was a good time to reconnect for Katie and I. But I guess to keep it on the CrossFit level, I would say my 5 a.m. class, specifically this member named Trish Irely. She's really taken the.
We don't do last names.
Sorry,
I'm just
sorry.
I'm joking.
She
Now
really
you have to
taken the
edit.
reins. Like we all did a Go Ruck event together.
Yeah.
In DC,
Yeah.
and then this coming Friday we're all going stand up paddleboarding together, and she kind of
Oh.
like put the whole thing together.
That's awesome.
And then it's like we're launching off from one of another member's, like a couple's house and stuff like that, and everybody, like people are bringing their spouses and everything like that, and it's
that's
just
really cool.
all the 5 a.m. crew is just it's like a family, you know, and it's great because she's like helped to really facilitate that, and now it's like I've literally come into the gym at 5, and I'm like,
It's more than that, Herb.
as I'm-
We're a family.
as I'm driving up to the gym, I'll see like lights on the trail. I'm like, what the heck was that? Because like we're right off like the South Island Trail in Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
And so I come in and I'm just like, and then I look in the parking lot and I see cars. And then like right before the 5 a.m. class, they're like, oh, well, we all decided to meet and go on an hour ruck before class.
Yeah.
And they're like, don't worry, like lightweight, you know, sort of stuff like that. But there will be like 8 of them walking
They
in the
were
gym. and I'm
prepping
like,
ball for that race.
yeah.
That's
And they're all
awesome.
like doing it together and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's all like, I appreciate, because I feel like having coached at some of the other gyms in this area,
Yeah.
like all my 5 a.m. crews always liked each other, but it's never been like this.
Yeah.
It's never been like, they're like,
And that's organic and it happens.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
yeah,
Very
it's like,
cool.
it's like community that you want to build, but it's like just gone to a different level,
Yeah.
which is really funny because everybody else at the gym is like, those 5 a.m. people are just
Weird.
different. They're
Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah.
Well, that's that morning swim team, that morning swim group at the swim center, 5:15 a.m. tapping on the glass. Like they have no respect for us. They're just like, you're in our way to the pool. But they would show up early. They go run around the Annapolis High School track. Then they're tapping on the window at 5:15 to get in and get their spots. So yeah, morning people.
What are you grateful for? Morning people.
No.
Morning, sure. I used to be a morning person. Mine's the Creek Beasts. We had our,
That's cute.
so it was fun yesterday we did it was a couple weeks ago and it was like Tuesday and I was like, what do you guys like on your tacos? And they're all like, meat. What else do you like? Cheese. That was it. That's all they liked on
That's all
their
you got
tacos.
from him.
And then one of them suggested like we should do a Taco Tuesday, and I was like, oh, that'd be fun. And so I decided we were going to do a Taco Tuesday, and then it was like we had one graduating senior, and so it was like this will also be kind of just this like celebration for her, and make like this will maybe be like the annual thing. So like kind of send off for the seniors, which we were talking about doing last year, and then COVID. But yeah, I made it was almost 4 pounds of meat. Ground beef for tacos. I was like, it's probably more than I need. We'll have some left over, no big deal. Gone. I forgot what it was like to be a teenager.
I didn't bring anything for dinner.
Gone. But it was great. Yeah. Then Mia came down. I got her a card and some flowers, and all the kids signed it for her. And so I'm glad she made it down. She just got back from her second procedure. She just got back from New York like Thursday or Friday. She texted me. She's like, my face is still a little swollen from the procedure. She's like, she looks like I had a really bad lip injection. So I sent her a picture of like this chick that had just like super giant like balloon lips. I was like, something like that.
I'm sure she appreciated
it. She did. So, but it was cool. Like they were awesome. And someone didn't believe it. Someone said they didn't think I was going to do it. They're like, oh, we just thought you were like joking. You were actually doing it. I was like, no, guys, when you're done working out, like there's tacos. There's tacos in there for you guys. They're okay, but hang on. Some of them didn't even like, their parents were like, wait, what is this thing again? Like, what's happening?
One of Katie's good friends that she teaches with is they sponsor her, and they do like one every year. And she was like, inevitably, mid rings over friend.
Yeah.
His
If
friend
they've got a good house,
over a friend and stuff like
word
that.
gets out quickly.
And she was like, so usually there's 3 of them here every Sunday. She was like, they come over one day, maybe twice a week. That sort of thing. That she was like, our grocery bill quadrupled.
Yeah.
She was like, never really shopped at Costco. Shop at Costco now. And then she's like, she was like, but she was like, we cook everything on the grill, and then we just make like everything that we thought like, okay, there's X amount of people, let's make X amount of food. And then it was like, it quickly became, there's X amount of people, let's make 2 times that amount of food that we've calculated. She was like, every Sunday, it's gone. And then she was like, if it's not gone, they're like, I'll take some of that, I'll take some of this, and stuff like that. She was like,
they're locusts, emotionally and physically. They will suck you dry of everything you have, physically and emotionally, and then they'll go, is that it?
One of us like, can I take?
She said they've done it several times.
I was like,
I
don't think that's true.
And the people that do it keep coming back for more. So there is some sort of reciprocity. I'm not sure what it is because I was a mid, and so I have 0 patience for them. Those entitled fucks. I want to just be like, say fucking thank you once or twice, right? Like, you are not sacrificing anything. You do not need my thanks. Just get the fuck out. But anyway, that's again my own baggage around that whole population.
Which is nice. They all the beasts, they said thank you, and they were really excited.
That's because they're still really sweet high school
I can't
kids.
get over how much food was on the ground. I was like, it's taco in a bag. It's supposed to be less mess. And like cheese was like matted into the carpet. I was like down, like picking it out. Oh man, but they were great. But that was them. They're
a good crew. This is a good crew, man.
Yeah,
they're a very good crew.
We're thinking Andrew's going to be one of those. Andrew's going to be one senior next year. Lauren Grove,
senior next year.
Yeah.
Holy
I think there's like going to be like
Twin
with this current group, there's going to be about 4 or 5.
Yeah, Matt's working over here at Prestige this summer.
Yeah.
Josh is down at Mission Barbecue.
Yeah.
Andrew's lifeguarding at the pool.
Yeah.
It's apparently been a while since I've seen them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're big. They're taller than me. Not that that's any great feat, but they are like.
I think one of them said they're finally taller than you or something.
Yeah, they are beyond. We are out of the window. We are out of the range of them being short. What's the actual politically correct term?
Vertically challenged.
Little people. No, like they're like 5'7", 5'8". I can still get them on most workouts, but I think I've got
that's coming for you.
I've got about a year before. So that's the only reason I did better in 17 in the snatch burpee box jump workout was because he was neck and neck with me, and I went out at a pace. We went out at a pace to be out at a pace to be in like the 15-ish range, and I think the round of 50 we both bonked. But I saw him catching me, and then I just went dark for the burpees to beat him by like 4 or 5 seconds. Yeah. So that's it. Like, I think that's the last one. I still can get him on some strength, but those days are number 2. I think they're putting up in the upper 180s, 200s on their clean and jerks.
You got them on strength for a while, but they're going to come up.
I don't know. I mean, the second they hit that second puberty wave, and then if they turn 20, they'll hit the third puberty wave. I'm done. I'm toast. So
speaking of, like, he was talking about Mat Fraser. That's a quick story, but Mat Fraser earlier talking about him at the games and talking to a guy and running away from him. I still remember it was like probably 2014, somewhere in there, that I was doing a workout with you. I think it was like 5 rounds of like 400s. There was some box jumps in there.
Was it Kelly?
Maybe some burpees or maybe some wobble. I don't remember.
Was it Kelly? It sounds like Kelly.
Yeah.
But it finished with a run.
Okay, so not Kelly.
So it wasn't Kelly. Yeah. But I was like, we're going like by Old Bay. We go up that hill for the 400. And then we're coming back. Or it might have been a 600.
So that was a longer.
I think it was a 600. So we go up to the 600, and Jack's like right in front of me. And he turns around to the 600, and I turn around, stuff like that. And he's like, and then I'm like, okay, like we're coming back down. We passed that light post, and I was like, okay, burn
Turn
it out,
on, yeah.
and go past them. So I get like out onto the road, and I'm just like, and I'm running like as fast as I can. So I'm sure my feet are like,
Can hear it, yeah.
and I get like right next to Jack. Jack never turns around, and he just like. And just like leaves me. I'm like, wait, what's happening? Like, why is this happening?
Back it's like, nice try, effort.
And then like he jumps up into the gym and turns around and he was like, heard your feet. And it's funny because I like I have
Jason's
focus
probably
and,
like crawling in the
like
door.
learning to get better at running, like running quieter. And I often think about that. I'm like, I can hear my feet. I was like, run quieter. I was like, I would have had Jack.
Oh,
I
I
would
would've
have
had-
quietly ran next to him. Faster right at the end.
I don't like to lose.
I still remember, I'm like, when should I turn it on? I was like, okay, we got like 200 meters left. Go.
I will tell you, you think I'm bad. Mel McCamley is a little quiet. You think like, oh, you know, that girl
Oh yeah.
does not like to lose.
No.
She played me like a putz in most of those age group online qualifiers.
Yeah.
And I mean, she is one fit woman. And I like humbled in that freaking competition. I'm humbled.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, all right. I got a year. So I'm
right.
coming for you, Mel. She got me on the like 3 out of the 5 she
Yeah.
took. We split the Metcons, but statistically by numbers,
Yeah.
she took the front squat.
How'd you do on that GHD pistol?
I did better than I expected. I
Yeah.
got back to the last round
Nice.
of GHDs. But yeah, I did the pistols. So fucking knee sleeves. Who knew? You put on knee sleeves instantly. And Luis was explaining to me,
changer.
yeah, it cuts down how far you got to compress.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's
yeah.
also a nice little, almost like springy.
It's a little bounce out of it. So
Yeah.
my knees were a little struggle bus at that point, and I was taping them and wrapping them. And he was like, "You want to try my knee sleeves?" I was like, "You have them?" He did, and I put them on. I was like, "Oh my god!" I bought them that night on
Yeah.
Amazon, and so
These
I'm
things are
now
a
a knee
game
sleeve
changer.
convert.
Yeah,
of,
we've-
you
Because they're
have
not
to-
braces. Like I think people
No.
think they're braces.
But,
They're
like,
no, they don't.
To be honest, like since wearing them, my knees are distinctly better because
yeah.
I'm not straining them so
Yeah.
much every time I work out.
Yeah.
Like they warm up, they actually have a time to heal and feel better afterwards and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, gear works, whatever.
I'm trying to convince.
I still
guys
say
to
like
get
somebody will
lifters.
say like you probably go heavy if you wear a belt. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I just
You
don't
want
want
to,
to.
yeah, I'm with you still, but it works. They work they're there for a reason.
I try not to.
Yeah,
Honestly.
me too.
Every once in a while I'll be like, today. But yeah, man. So we actually have a coach going to the games.
Yeah, you won.
Oh, yeah,
what's
she's-
your
that's
face?
right.
Yeah,
Stuckey.
Yeah.
awesome.
So
In
yeah,
the
she's
40
actually
40
Yeah, 40 to 44,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was impressive.
she's really stoked because she was a D1 gymnast.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like there was in the age group online qualifier, there wasn't
A lot of
A lot
gymnastics.
much of
gymnastics
high
stuff,
skill
yeah.
gymnastics. And
Yeah.
she was like, the fact that I could hang, like,
Yeah.
it's given her confidence is like through the roof.
That is awesome. I will say it was sneaky high end gymnastics. The rope climbs and that GHD pistol one,
yeah.
ridiculous. The all gymnastics. The handstand push up push press was actually a handstand push up workout. That if you didn't manage those correctly, everything else fell apart.
Gotcha.
And so that's where I would push back on her. I think I would agree on the surface, and right, there weren't like muscle ups or
yeah. So
But-
like the crazy high
but
skill. Yeah.
her probably movement patterns and ability to move well when fatigued, like gymnasts have to, is probably her hidden secret
Yeah,
talent.
so she has a twin sister who finished 24th.
Jesus, that
Yeah,
is just
that's
so
right.
cool. That's
And
so cool.
Lisa, her sister, has actually been to the games before.
Okay,
Right.
man, you got
So-
some deep
Good
talent there
genes.
down it.
Well,
CrossFit
Lisa,
United.
she owns Iron Strong CrossFit,
So like,
Iron
yeah.
Strong, I think, in Salisbury.
Okay,
So they both did the workouts at our gym.
Mhm.
I guess I think last year they did them all there or something like that. But she was a member of the 5 a.m. crew until like COVID hit. So she's been doing most
Oh,
of her
stuff
training
at
at
home.
home. Yeah. So which is I find for anybody doing it,
That's impressive.
because it takes a lot, man. Getting up and doing stuff by yourself.
yeah.
True.
As somebody who gets up and does it by himself at not a high level.
at scale level.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was fun, man.
Yeah,
we'll,
man. It's
we'll
great
let
seeing you
people.
guys.
We'll let people go because I'm
Yeah.
sure they're. I have no idea how long this was, but
Yeah, long enough.
yeah,
Cool.
it was a fun drop in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to end it with the? Does he know what to say? Did you? Did you coach him?
All right. So we will see you all.
On the creek.
No, let me say. I
Let's do
will
it
say.
again,
Well, we will see you all.
On the creek.
But you need to be like more on the creek. Let's do it again. We will see you all
On the creek.
Ooh, that was good.
Oh,
All right.
well done. Well done.